Welcome to Hub City Spokes. This season we're talking with millennials in the 806, and y'all are in luck because today we're talking about wine again with my friend Abby Bogle. She's managing partner of the Texas Wine Company. I'm super excited to talk with you because I feel like I've seen you on social. You've been so busy and I haven't gotten to chat with you in forever. Okay, so what have you been doing over at Texas Wine?
So we have been doing all the things. Of course, harvest was short this year. It just, 2020 has not been the year for the wine industry, but harvest has been short, but that did not slow us down at all. I feel like it almost I don't know what happened, or maybe this is how it always is. I'm not sure. But of course, we had harvest from the end of July to first week of September. So right about 6 weeks. And then we have just been full force into tastings, distribution, community involvement, different events, and really just trying to get the Church House brand out in the Lubbock community and surrounding areas, especially like Amarillo and Midland. And so that is primarily what I'm always doing. I'm traveling. I am talking to a lot of people. I'm going to Dallas. I'm delivering wine. You never know what I might be doing. I'm one day I'm delivering wine for Church House, and then the next day I have friends in the wine industry that are like, oh, take wine for me. I'm like, okay. So I'm just the all around West Texas wine girl. It's pretty much, people call me the wine mogul or Bogle mogul or whatever. They have a whole name.
I love it because I feel like every time I see you on social, you're doing something for Texas Wine, or you're with Katie or something. Yeah. That's so fun though. It seems like that the wine industry out here is so it's so collaborative and just.
It has to be. And that is one of our biggest, and especially my biggest thing. And I talk about this all the time. I am on the phone with people all the time about the industry. And it's so funny because everyone just talks. We never go anywhere with our talks. They never have a mission and we get things done. We just talk.
And what wine are you drinking?
Oh, what's going on? Oh, and then and then I end up sending a text after the talk. Oh, this is actually what I needed from you.
Yeah.
But we always talk about the fact that we need all of us to make this industry successful. So all of us have to come together to make Texas wine successful. It can't just be one winery here, one winery there. And so we like to have a healthy competition and, just kind of feed off of each other. So we talk a lot. I talk to a lot of people here, a lot of people in the Hill Country, just kind of depending. And I have a lot of people just like Andy Timmons and Katie Jane, who I really look up to. They've been in the industry. And so I'm I need help. Help me. What do I do?
Yeah.
But it's nice, especially with Farmhouse Vineyards. They are very boutique-y, so they're not in distribution. So we're able to really push distribution for Church House and then talk about fun little things that they're doing. And so just there's room for everyone is the biggest point.
Yeah, for sure. And those wineries, a lot of those grapes, are they grown in brownfield or?
Yes. Okay. So about 85% of the grapes produced in Texas are grown in brownfield. So just, 30 minutes down the road. And then Texas Wine Company is located in Meadow, or how everyone around here says it is Meta, just like they say Ruidosa.
Yeah.
I'm still it's just Meadow. I'm not throwing the A in there. And so we're located pretty much just 10 miles from all of the vineyards. So we're in a very convenient spot, especially for our growers and then for our Hill Country clients to be able to process before it sits on a truck too long headed up there.
Gotcha. And you mentioned clients, so you actually have your own label, but you do production for other wineries?
Yes. So Church House, which is of course right here, our gold label Cab Sauv, is our in-home label. That's kind of how we describe it. So Texas Wine Company, we this was before I joined the team, but Andy and the other partners kind of said, we need to have our own label just to kind of offset some of the bad years. Go into distribution, so we have some other revenue streams coming in. And so that is why Church House was created. But then in addition to Church House, so we make all of that, of course, and then we source from our growers and some of our partners who have grapes. We have a really good program to make that a very high quality, but very value driven wine. So good price point and everything. So that's kind of that program. And then with our clients, we are able to take in anything they have. So whatever they source from the growers in the region. And I mean, we did some stuff from Del City this year. So it just kind of depends on where our clients are sourcing from, but they bring it to us. And then we have a couple different options. We can, like press and go, where we just press it out, sit it on a truck, back to them. We can go all the way from vine to bottle. So we're very, it's custom crush facility. So it's whatever that client wants. We're able to kind of fit those needs because we have the ability to do everything or nothing, just kind of whatever they want. And each program for them is specific. So they might want their Cabernet to go all the way to the bottle, and they might want their Moscato to just be pressed out and sent on to them. So we're able to do a lot of different things.
That is incredible. That seems like so much to balance between doing all that and then having your own label and promoting that and having distribution for that label.
And we run such a small team, and that is one of the things that we really pride ourselves in. And we talk to people all the time, and they're like, how do y'all do it? And it's funny because like right now we're kind of going into a slower season. We just did a big bottling on Sunday, and then we'll kind of go into a slower season going into the winter. And it's like right now people are probably like, y'all have way too many people, it's slow. And I'm like, yeah, but we keep this amount of people for whenever we do have 100,000 gallons and we're, processing 800, 900 tons of grapes. So it's just myself, and I kind of handle distribution. And then we have our general manager, Frank, office manager, Chastity, a winemaker, and just like a few, really actually just one seller employee now. So wow. We are small, but it makes it fun.
Yeah.
We all wear very many different hats, which is nice.
That is awesome. Yeah. Definitely keeps it interesting, I'm sure.
Oh yeah. I'll pull on people all the time, and I'm like, Frank, I need you to go do a demo.
Yeah. It's nice though to know the brand that through and through, that's important. And then you're able to wear those different hats, and you can kind of just...
I don't wear the hat of winemaking. I let all of that stay to the winemaker. I'm like, you just do that. I'm no chemist, so I can't do that.
Oh gosh, no, I can't imagine.
But we all we really work together to just help grow the brand, and that's like the biggest effort for all of us. And we do Wolford Farmers Market, and we all work that, just kind of depending. So I think, especially before I got there, the staff there, they started this entire thing. So it is their baby too. And you can totally see that like all the way through the custom crush to doing demos and talking about the wine. They love the story. They love to talk about it. And I think that's what makes it so successful and unique to this area.
For sure. Andy Timmons actually spoke about growing the brand on our first season of the podcast. Yeah. He kind of talked about the palette of consumers and kind of growing into Texas wine. What are your thoughts on like what would you tell somebody that maybe if we were like at a restaurant and there was a millennial sitting there with us, or even, your parent, like how do you encourage someone to drink Texas wine?
It's so, so I will say this. So back whenever I first started in this wine industry, like 6 years ago, I was very much, I was like, oh, it's the Tempranillo, it's the Sangiovese, it's the Viogniers, all of that. Like, try these Texas grapes. But that is so hard to get across to just the normal average person going to the grocery store to get their bottle of Cab. And so over the years, I've especially seen, and I'm sure Andy talked about this, the growers have continued to better themselves in learning how to grow the Cabernet, how to grow the Merlot, different things like that. I mean, of course, the Spanish and Italian varietals are going to flourish here because of the climate and soil we have, but our growers have been able to really produce some amazing Cabernet grapes and Merlot and different things. And so we kind of, like, what I love about having this Cab here and it being a gold winner at the San Antonio Stock Show is we can get them to say, hey, Cab, so try it. It's from Texas. And then they're going to say, oh, I like that. It's going to be like, okay, let me open all the possibilities. Because like, if you like that, you're going to love a Tempranillo or love a Sangiovese.
Right. Yeah. I think that is so funny because it's so true. Whenever you go to a restaurant, especially someone who's not a super, familiar wine drinker, if your friends are ordering a glass of wine, you're like, I'll have the Cab, or I'll have a Chard or whatever, Sauvignon Blanc, because you just I don't know how to pronounce that. I don't even know what is it gonna, So
and I don't know how many times. I mean, I've been sitting there and I'll be in a group of people and it's I'll take the house white, I'll take the house red, and I'm like, but there's so much more.
Yes, you don't even know what that is.
I'm like, but wait, no. So I think that's what's exciting is. We created this gold label, which is the Cab Merlot and Reserve Zinfandel. And so those are popular known varietals. Mm-hmm. And then, we've been talking about planning for 2021 and the years to come of doing the Tempernios and stuff, but we just really want to build that brand loyalty. And then they're going to be like, well, we love whatever they do, so let's try that. But it's hard to build that off of a Tempranillo or Viognier. So we just got to start with the common stuff, which stinks, but it is what it is.
Hey, I mean, when you're winning medals, like
I was like, I mean, we'll take it. It's totally fine. So yeah.
So how did you even get involved in the wine industry? I don't even think I know that story.
Okay, it's like the funniest story. Well, I guess it's really not that funny, but I came to college at Tech in 2012 from Dexter, New Mexico, which is a super small town. And I declared ad communications because I didn't know that's just what I was supposed to do. That's what my older sister did. So I was like, okay, I can do that. And then I was actually getting my hair done, and my good friend was like, you should join the RIM program. And I was like, we don't have a RIM program. Like, what are you talking about? And she was like, yeah, Tech does. So I was like, okay, well, I'm going to look into that. So I changed majors to restaurant hotel management. And then I was actually working at the Texas Tech Club, and I just saw, I think I had gone to McPherson or something. I can't remember exactly now, but I saw that they were hiring. And so I just applied there, and I kind of did that more so for like the event planning experience. Little did I know I was going to fall in love with wine and that whole industry. And then I moved from the Texas Tech Club over there, started just as like a tasting room, event associate all throughout college, and then moved my way up to the event manager. And then during that time, I studied abroad for wine tourism and beverage control in Italy. And then that's really where it kind of like solidified, like, okay, I love.
You went like the big dog.
I was like, I love this. I love it. I love it. So, and it was so fun to do Italy because I was able to like compare like the Sangioveses with all of the Chiantis and just really see like the similar growing temperatures and different things. And so after that trip, it was just like, I'm sold. I'm never leaving this industry. And then I did, but I always had like wine at the center of everything. So I was always involved. I was president of High Plains Wine and Food Foundation for 3 years. Even being in like the Hilton hotel sales, everything was like, okay, what's on our wine menu? Like everything like circled back to wine. And then I kind of went way back into the wine industry with Yano, and then had this crazy opportunity happen back in December. And now I'm just kind of like, okay, I think I'm kind of creating my path versus like working for other people and stuff, and being able to like not work for people, work with people, and really grow kind of my vision and how I want to align myself with the Texas wine industry.
Yeah, I think you're such a cool example of that collaborative nature and just kind of being involved in promoting all of it. Yeah. Obviously having your own vein, but kind of just like, championing all of it.
Yeah, I'm like, everyone needs to be successful. And I think, that's like my biggest thing. I'm wine club members at McPherson, and, like I go to Yano all the time and still talk to all of them. And so I think it's just like, you look to, like, my biggest thing is I know what I can do really well and I know what I can't do well. And I look to other people to help me with that. And at the end of the day, you never burn a bridge. I'm super big on building relationships and like continuing those relationships and always staying in touch. Because you just never know. And so I like to pull on like the Jason Santanis and different people to just kind of steer me in the right direction, because you can't do it by yourself. And that's what I like to sometimes think I can with certain things. And then I'm like, just say you need help. It's fine.
Yeah. You'll be better off anyway.
Yeah. I won't stress out so much. So
I'm so curious, what is it about the Texas High Plains that has your heart? Because you could go be in the wine industry anywhere. What is it about this area that you're kind of into?
I think for me, I had a lot of people kind of tell me like, why don't you go to Napa? Why don't you do that? And I think for me in Lubbock, it's the people. I fell in love with the people, and I got super involved very early on. And so being on High Plains Wine and Food Foundation, I met a ton of great people. And those people you just don't like come by often, especially in today's world. And people that like, I have like a master list of people I could call if I was on the side of the road, ran out of gas, or, whatever. And I was able to really build those relationships. And then seeing like the growers and seeing what they've been able to accomplish and just building the relationships with them, they just all hold such a special place to me. And I think I love like a good challenge. And Texas wine is a challenge because you are just pushing and pushing and pushing. Like, we have good wines. We have stuff that is comparable to Napa. Like, just look outside, like just try our stuff and then you'll love it. And so I think that's been the biggest thing is just I get to help make something bigger and better than ever before. Whereas like the Napa, Washington, Oregon, they're so established and they do really well and they're great. But I think I would have just been like a very like do the job, go home, whatever. Like not always pushing for more, and I have to have more. I get bored very easily, and I think this industry definitely like I'm never bored now. That is for sure.
You have something to advocate for, you know, and then like it's offering you amazing. You're a managing partner, like that's incredible for a label that is like distributed. How many?
217 HEBs, all of the Uniteds and Market Streets, of course, in Lubbock, and then in Amarillo as well. And I think there's one Market Street in Midland, I believe, one or two. And so it's there as well. But we're in the Hill Country with HEB. We're working on going into Pinkies. So doing crazy things, really kind of targeting the hotel scene in Lubbock. That's one of the things. It's like the weirdest thing how everything comes back full circle. When I worked for Hilton, held onto those relationships, and now it's opened the door to be in several of the hotels here in Lubbock. And so I think that's just super cool. And I think that's would be a very hard thing to accomplish in like the DFW, the Metroplex, the bigger cities. In Lubbock, everyone remembers you and you remember them. And it's easy to be like, hey, Tony, I want you to come. Like, I want my wine in your restaurant. Like, let's talk about it and let's do a wine dinner and different stuff like that, which I think makes Lubbock just like one of those really special places.
For sure. That community is like so strong and just developing those relationships.
And you see that with like the nonprofits, everything. I mean, I feel like everyone just really comes together here. They do a great job about that. So
kind of off track, what do you enjoy about like living in Lubbock? Like, what do you like to do when you have spare time?
I always say I feel like I am out and about often, but I like to call it networking. I'm like, I'm actually networking. This is all part of the job. Like sitting at the Funky Door bar is part of my job. That's what I have to do. But I really I have a dog, so I will like walk my dog a lot. I do. I joke about this. We were talking about this the other day with my little sister, and I said something like, "Oh, I really want to like be home for a few days. Like, I just want to like not have anything to do." And I think it was like 6 o'clock the same day I said that. And I was like, "Okay, I'm bored. I'm going somewhere." Yeah. And so I always have like friends to call and places to go, and I love going to Funky Door. Love going to like Berkeley Hill, West Table, all of those places. I mean, honestly, it sounds terrible, but in my spare time, I drink a lot of wine. Like I like to go try other wines because it helps us perfect ours and just know what else is out there. And so live music, which I think Lubbock is so good at, and hiring live music on patios and just being around like entertainment and the people I love. That's like my biggest thing. I don't really care what I'm doing. I could be like sitting on a couch and chit-chatting and have a glass of wine in my hand with a fire and be great. So just it all kind of depends. I'm all over the place, but if I'm not at home or running on the highway, I'm typically at a local restaurant drinking wine, listening to music.
Yeah. It's so nice to have such a big industry here where you can do that. You can go try different labels. You can go, have a nice dinner and try a different glass of wine.
And like Funky Door is so great about that, and their wine list is so extensive that if I could, I would want to go to Funky Door like every day and be like, okay, I want to try this wine, I want to try that one. I could never go through their entire portfolio.
But it's like a book.
It is so big, but just like being able to go to those places and just kind of see what they're doing. And also just, I love to people watch. So like I'll sit at the bar and just watch what people order. Like what are they ordering? What should we change? And kind of use it as just like a way of like marketing and what, like see what our targeted audience is actually wanting. And so I can't tell you how many times I go back to the office and I'm like, okay, last night at Funky Door, so-and-so did this, so we need to do this. Like,
yeah. I mean, it's like prime like focus group right there, right? I mean,
and I feel like I keep talking Funky Door, but I really am there like all the time.
Hey, they're a great place. Like if you're coming to Lubbock and you're wanting to kind of get a taste of local wine, they've got some good wines on tap. And then, they've got
and it's just like a fun, different vibe than I love like Las Brisas and Table 82 and all of those, but Funky Door is just different and unique. And I think it always has been. And that's why people are kind of like, they gravitate towards that to try something different.
For sure. Andy said that I would be really sad if I didn't ask you about your family's land. He was like, Catherine, there's an unbelievable story there. You have to talk to her. But I was like, okay, that's a really weird question to ask someone, but okay, Andy.
Yes. Leave it to Andy. Like, oh God, I love them, but
he's hilarious.
They're so funny.
Yeah, if you haven't watched his episode, go back and watch it because
I'm going to have to. So my family's land, my family is from Dexter, New Mexico. And we have actually been farming in the Pecos Valley for this year was 100 years. And so we have been there for a long time. And then my dad is one of 5. And so I have a lot of cousins that kind of run the farm and run the ranches with my dad. My dad's still very active and my uncles are still too. I was actually home last week and we were all in the office. I don't know that any work was getting done, but we were all sitting there. Yeah. We were all at the office. But and so we've been farming and ranching for 100 years and we have 3 different ranches. And so we have the turkey track, which is, I'm sure the one he was talking about at one point was the largest consecutive piece of privately owned land. And we have sold different sections of it, just kind of depending. So I don't think it's in that category now. I don't know for sure. I'll have to call and find out. It's so funny because people, and I don't even know where they find this stuff out. They're like, just
Andy's
look it up at
them.
Google. And
Andy's literally like going around town.
Andy and Katie Jane. I'm like, okay, this is so awkward because I'm like not calling my dad like, hey, where are we at now on the statistics? Like, it's not happening. But so we have that. We still own the turkey track and we own the 4 Lakes, which is right outside of Tatum. And then we had the X-Bar Ranch near Corona, which is actually where in 1947 the UFO weather balloon, whatever it might have been, landed. And then we actually acquired that ranch in 1952. And so we had the same foreman who found it and was kind of sworn to secrecy. And I'm sure that would be a whole nother podcast on aliens and other things. But yeah, we have some funny family stories and just different things that make it unique. And it was fun to kind of play off of that for a summer and then be done with it.
Yeah, for sure.
Not have to do it again. But yeah, there's Andy with all of
It's so cool though that your family has like such strong ties to agriculture, and then like the place that you have here in Lubbock and like what you're getting to do promoting Texas wine is really cool.
It is. It's like just such a crazy turn, like maybe not turn of events, but just that, I loved growing up in agriculture and being on the family farm. And then my mom was actually, or still is, she's been a director for Mary Kay Cosmetics for 30 years now. So both of our parents were just very big entrepreneurs and taught us to like go after what you want, do what you want to do. And so when I was actually graduating high school, I wanted to go to NYU and never come back, and goodbye Dexter, New Mexico. I don't want this life or anything. So it's just funny that, of course, I ended up in Lubbock and not New York University, and then fell in love with something that all ties to agriculture, and kind of being able to bring that back and have the potential to possibly plant vineyards and everything on our family's land is super cool. And so we're just kind of figuring it out like month by month, and something changes every day, but it's nice because it's definitely my passion. And just being in the vineyard, I was in the vineyard with Andy not too long ago, and they were harvesting, and it just gives me like this high. I just love it. I'm like, oh, I love this. And it takes me back to like my dad and cousins and stuff, whenever they would be in the chopper harvesting corn or wheat or alfalfa or whatever. We loved being out there, like loved being around that, loved being in the field. And so I love just that I get to do that more now.
Yeah. Well, it's so cool, like to have that investment throughout, like we were talking about, like the industry and being able to kind of be a part of every aspect of it. That's so unique, I think, to this area.
And you have like the opportunity for yourself to vertically align, which is like what Andy has done, which has been so cool. And, Andy can say he can take it all the way from the vine to the bottle and wherever else you want it to go in between. And so you have like a blank canvas in this industry and area, and it's like, go after it, like do whatever you want to do, and you can be super successful. And that's what's exciting, especially at like my young age at 26 years old. And I feel like I'm barely getting started. I'm like, this is what I have been wanting to do for the last like 6 years, and we've talked about, and then it just kind of happened. And I probably would say I'm not prepared for any of this, but I'm figuring it out as I go.
It sounds like you've been prepared this whole way, you know, all these different steps. Yeah.
And I like rely on a bunch of things I've learned from other wineries and just careers and life in general and my parents and everything. But I will like, you think you might know one thing and then it's like, that was cute.
Yeah.
No, you do not. Yeah. And so I talk to a lot of people all the time and I'm just like, help me with this, or what do you think about that? Mm-hmm. Like, and I think that's been the biggest thing, is just admitting like, I don't know everything in this industry, and that's okay. I've only been in it for 6 years. Like I'm of course not going to, but all the people around me know as much as you could possibly want to know. So I just ask questions a lot.
There you go.
Yeah.
Well, it sounds like it's working for you.
Yeah.
I'm so glad that you're here. Thank you so much for joining us. It's been so much fun to have you on the podcast.
Absolutely. Thank y'all so much.
So as you've seen, Abby is one of a kind, but we have a few more stories like Abby's on our website, podcast@lubbockeda.org. Thanks.